The stars were silent witnesses to a crime the galaxy had never anticipated. A human hospital ship, unarmed and drifting through a contested sector, came under fire from an alien fleet. Explosions tore through the hull, life support faltering, alarms shrieking across empty corridors. The injured and the innocent were trapped in the void, a violation of every law, every code, every principle the galaxy claimed to uphold. Yet humanity does not respond to atrocity with fear. Humanity responds with inevitability. From Earth and hidden stations across the outer colonies, fleets that had long lingered in shadows sprang into motion. These were no ordinary ships. They were vessels forged on Deathworlds. Armored against devastation, crewed by minds trained to turn survival into strategy. Every human aboard them knew the cost of injustice, and every calculation was directed toward a singular, immutable purpose, to repay in kind what had been done. Sensors across the sector flickered, detecting anomalies. Alien ships vanished mid-flight, propulsion grids failing, communications scrambling. Analysts tried to label it interference, cosmic storms, malfunctions, but there was no chaos here. Every failure was intentional, every disruption precise. Humanity was weaving a web of inevitability, bending the void itself into a weapon. The flagship led the charge, sleek and monumental, adaptive hull glowing with pale blue energy. Reflecting and bending enemy scans. Drones detached like silent shadows, infiltrating alien vessels, disabling engines, weapons, and guidance systems without a single trace. Gravitation wells bent the battlefield subtly, redirecting attacks into voided space, forcing arrogant formations into disorder. Below, survivors of nearby stations watched the distant flashes of energy, ships disappearing before their eyes. They could not comprehend the full scope of the human fleet's precision, but they understood instinctively. Salvation had arrived, and it carried the weight of human pride, intelligence, and moral clarity. The alien commanders had believed the hospital ship attack would go unanswered. They had believed in impunity, in the vulnerability of human compassion. They were wrong. Humanity was coming, not for vengeance alone, but as an instrument of justice the galaxy would remember, and in the silence before the storm, a single thought crystallized across every human vessel: the cost of violating the innocent would be absolute. The alien fleets that had fired upon the human hospital ship now found themselves on the precipice of a reckoning they could neither anticipate nor escape. As the Deathworlders' Armada advanced through the void, their movements were measured, deliberate, and terrifyingly precise. These were not ships designed merely to fight, they were instruments of inevitability. Vessels carrying the intelligence, foresight, and discipline of a species forged in environments meant to destroy life. Each crew had endured worlds where gravity crushed bones, storms boiled seas into acid, and the air itself could strip lungs to nothing. From that crucible, humanity had emerged unbroken, cunning, and unstoppable. The alien commanders struggled to understand the sudden interference. Engines cut out mid-flight, weapons arrays failed, and communications scrambled. Formation after formation unraveled as drones slipped silently through holes, shutting down critical systems before anyone could react. Every maneuver of the humans seemed impossibly anticipatory, each move a step ahead of even the most sophisticated AI protocols. The void itself became a weapon under human control, a tapestry of gravitational fields and energy distortions that bent reality in subtle, devastating ways. Across the sectors under threat, planetary populations and orbital stations observed flashes of energy and vanishing ships. The civilians could not comprehend the scale or mechanics of the human response, yet instinct whispered a single, undeniable truth: help had arrived. The humans were no ordinary defenders. They were arbiters of consequence, enforcers of inevitability, carrying the moral weight of a species that refused to forgive violations against the innocent. Every pulse of energy, every disabled alien vessel, communicated restraint paired with precision. Cruelty avoided in favor of absolute effectiveness. The flagship moved like the eye of a storm, massive and calm, its adaptive hull glowing faintly in rhythmic pulses, bending and refracting light and enemy sensors alike. Drones streamed into enemy vessels, dismantling engines, navigation arrays, and weapons in near silence. Alien fleets attempted to consolidate, forming new synchronized volleys of energy and kinetic projectiles, but every strike failed. Shields absorbed the attacks, propulsion grids stalled, and every offensive measure was quietly neutralized before it could ever become a threat. Even as devastation spread through the alien armada, humanity maintained a rigorous restraint. Ships were disabled rather than destroyed. Collateral damage was minimized, and lives were spared whenever possible. Every vanishing vessel carried a clear, unmistakable message: trespass Earth's borders, violate the innocent, and humanity will respond with intelligence, precision, and moral clarity that cannot be outmatched. The galaxy's most arrogant and confident species had underestimated a force forged under conditions meant to kill, and that miscalculation would define the battlefield. On the bridge of the flagship, commanders observed each movement with a measured calm. They did not rejoice in destruction. Their focus was survival, precision, and the enforcement of consequence. Humanity's fleet did not strike blindly. It struck with inevitability, delivering justice in a manner that left no ambiguity, no room for error, and no doubt about the cost of violating those who cannot defend themselves. As the void rippled with the silent chaos of disabled alien vessels, the galaxy's whispers turned to realization. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. The Deathworlders had arrived, and their presence would not only avenge the attack on the hospital ship, it would redefine every calculation about what it meant to cross Earth's borders. A single thought echoed across every human vessel, silent but absolute: no act against the innocent would ever go unanswered. The alien fleets, once confident in their dominance, now found themselves unraveling in ways that defied comprehension. Ships that had been counted on to form impenetrable formations now drifted helplessly, their engines sputtering, weapon systems offline, and command protocols failing without explanation. Alien commanders barked frantic orders that went unheeded, as if the void itself had turned against them. Humanity did not act recklessly or with brute force. Their methods were surgical, precise, and inevitable. Every move the Deathworlders' fleet made was calculated, anticipating the enemy's every thought, reaction, and flaw, from hidden colonies on barren moons to orbital stations skimming gas giants. Human warships advanced like predators in the shadows, their adaptive hulls glimmering with soft blue energy that bent and refracted alien sensors. Drones, small, silent, and ghost-like, slipped into alien command ships to dismantle propulsion, navigation, and weapon arrays before a single crew member could comprehend the intrusion. Gravity wells subtly bent the battlefield, redirecting volleys and missiles into voided space, turning well-coordinated enemy attacks into failures without a shot fired by human hands. Each movement demonstrated patience honed through millennia of surviving environments designed to kill, and intelligence sharpened by countless near extinctions. Meanwhile, across planets and orbital observatories, civilians watched flashes of energy and witnessed ships vanish inexplicably from sensors. They did not understand the technical mastery at work, but they felt it viscerally: humanity had arrived. These were not merely protectors, they were arbiters of consequence, delivering justice through intelligence and strategy rather than chaos. Every pulse of energy, every disabled vessel, and every disruption of enemy formations communicated restraint married to effectiveness, moral clarity reinforced by lethal precision. The flagship led the Armada with serene authority, energy veins pulsing rhythmically along the hull, a silent language of dominance and control. Drones streamed into enemy vessels, dismantling propulsion systems, weapon arrays, and communication hubs in near silence. Alien fleets attempted desperate last-minute reorganizations, concentrating all remaining firepower into synchronized volleys. The attacks were neutralized almost before they began. Shields absorbed energy, propulsion grids failed, and drones dismantled targeting arrays with surgical efficiency. Humanity dictated the flow of battle, controlling not just the fleet but the very battlefield itself. Even amid total destruction, restraint governed human action. Ships were disabled, not destroyed. Collateral damage was minimized, and lives were preserved wherever possible. Each disabled alien vessel carried an unmistakable warning: underestimate humanity, violate the innocent, and you will face consequences beyond comprehension. The alien commanders now realized the terrifying truth. They were not facing a species armed with conventional strength or numbers. They were facing intellect, foresight, and moral resolve perfected over millennia. The galaxy began to whisper across the void. Humans had emerged not merely as survivors but as judges and enforcers, arbiters whose intervention was precise, unavoidable, and absolute. The Deathworlders' fleet moved through the shattered Armada like a calm storm, dismantling formations, neutralizing weapons, and imposing order on chaos. On the bridge of the flagship, the human commanders observed each engagement with a cold serenity, their focus unbroken. Victory was not their goal, it was an inevitable consequence of their design, strategy, and moral clarity. Humanity did not strike blindly, and it did not gloat in destruction. Every move, every pulse, every disabling strike carried a lesson the galaxy could not ignore. Underestimate humanity at your peril. As the remnants of the alien fleets drifted silently in the void, crippled and disoriented, the Deathworlders' Armada advanced with calm inevitability, leaving no doubt that Earth's reach was absolute. Across the galaxy, the same thought crystallized in every mind that observed: the humans had arrived. And they would never allow injustice to go unpunished. A single unspoken command pulsed through every ship, every drone, every weapon system: justice is absolute. The alien Armada had once commanded fear across multiple star systems, its fleets imposing and precise, yet now it teetered on the edge of obliteration. Ships drifted helplessly through the void, engines dead, weapons offline, and navigation systems failing without explanation. Panic rippled from bridge to bridge, officers shouting orders that were ignored, as though the very void conspired against them. Humanity did not strike recklessly, nor did it rely on sheer firepower. Every movement of the Deathworlders' fleet was deliberate, calculated, and inevitable, a demonstration of intellect honed across millennia of surviving worlds designed to crush life. The flagship led with serene authority, a colossal warship shimmering with adaptive blue energy that bent light and alien sensors alike. Behind it, the human fleet advanced in perfect formation, each vessel attuned to the rhythms of command and the nuances of strategy. Drones detached silently, infiltrating alien vessels to dismantle propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and command interfaces before anyone aboard could respond. Gravitational traps subtly redirected enemy fire, turning coordinated volleys into catastrophic failures, collapsing formations with the quiet inevitability of a predator stalking its prey. Every maneuver spoke of precision, patience, and foresight, the defining traits of a species forged on deathworlds where survival was never guaranteed. Across the sectors, civilian observers and orbital stations witnessed distant flashes of energy and the disappearance of entire enemy vessels. They could not understand the complex choreography at play, yet instinctively they recognized the power of what had arrived. Humanity was not merely a defender, but an arbiter of consequence, an executor of justice carried out with unmatched intelligence. Every pulse of energy, every disabled alien ship, and every disrupted formation broadcast a singular truth: the inviolable cost of striking at the innocent. The alien commanders struggled to adapt, reorganizing desperate counterattacks, concentrating every remaining weapon into synchronized volleys. Yet their attacks were nullified before they could take effect. Shields absorbed energy and bent it harmlessly into space, engines faltered under precise disruption, and drones infiltrated targeting arrays to render them useless. The battlefield itself obeyed the humans, bending under gravitational and strategic manipulation, forcing enemies to act against their own designs, trapped in a cage built from intellect and inevitability. Even in the midst of destruction, humanity maintained restraint. Ships were disabled rather than destroyed. Collateral damage was minimized, and life wherever possible was preserved. Every vanishing alien vessel carried an unmistakable message: trespass against humanity, violate the innocent, and you will encounter consequences beyond your comprehension. The galaxy's most confident and arrogant species now recognized a terrifying truth: they were facing not mere technology or numbers, but intellect, foresight, and moral resolve rendered manifest across a fleet designed to enforce inevitability. The flagship moved through the void like a calm storm, its energy pulses radiating outward, dictating the rhythm of engagement, dismantling formations with a silent, inexorable authority. On the bridge, human commanders observed each engagement with cold precision, their attention unwavering. Victory was not a goal, it was an outcome, a consequence of meticulous planning, strategic mastery, and moral clarity. Humanity did not strike blindly or out of rage, it acted as executioner of the inevitable, imposing justice with measured certainty. As alien vessels drifted disabled and broken, the human fleet advanced deeper into the void, leaving a trail of neutralized threats and unanswered arrogance. Across the galaxy, whispers spread from system to system. Humanity had arrived, and the cost of attacking the innocent was absolute. Each fleet movement, each disabling strike, and each gravitational manipulation reinforced the lesson the universe would never forget. And in the stillness of space, the unyielding voice of humanity echoed silently across the void. No act of cruelty goes unanswered. The alien armada was unraveling entirely, its once formidable formations reduced to drifting wrecks, engines failing, and weapons dead. Panic had spread through their command networks, officers shouting futile orders, AI systems misfiring, and crews scrambling to comprehend the precision that had dismantled their fleet. Humanity did not strike blindly. Every move of the Deathworlders' fleet was deliberate, calculated, and inexorably inevitable. This was a species whose survival had been forged under conditions designed to kill, worlds of crushing gravity. Acidic oceans, relentless storms, and that crucible had produced warriors, strategists, and minds capable of seeing every outcome before it unfolded. The flagship cut through the void with serene authority, adaptive hulls glowing with rhythmic blue energy that reflected and refracted alien sensors, confusing them, misleading them, and turning the battlefield into a weapon itself. Behind it, human vessels moved in perfect synchronicity, a living formation of inevitability. Drones detached like ghosts, slipping silently into alien command ships to dismantle engines, disable weapons, and scramble navigation systems, leaving nothing to chance. Gravitational distortions subtly redirected enemy fire, forcing formations into disorder and turning desperate volleys into catastrophic failures. Humanity did not merely engage, they orchestrated, bending the very void to serve as a strategic instrument. On distant planets, orbital stations, and civilian observation posts, people watched flashes of energy and vanishing alien ships. They could not comprehend the mechanics, but instinct told them the truth: humanity had arrived. These were not merely protectors, they were arbiters, executing justice with intelligence, foresight, and restraint. Every disabled ship, every disruption of formation, broadcast a single immutable truth: the innocent would be defended, and arrogance would be punished. Alien commanders attempted one final consolidation, gathering what remained of their fleets into coordinated strikes, focusing all remaining firepower on the human flagship. Massive energy beams surged forward, kinetic projectiles carved through the void, and volleys synchronized with terrifying precision. Yet every attack failed. Shields absorbed and redirected energy, engines faltered under subtle manipulations, and drones infiltrated targeting arrays to neutralize weapons before they fired. Humanity dictated the battlefield, controlling the rhythm, pace, and outcome, leaving no margin for arrogance, error, or hope. Even amid utter devastation, restraint guided human action. Vessels were disabled rather than destroyed. Collateral damage minimized, and lives preserved whenever possible. Each vanishing alien ship carried a warning etched in silence: underestimate humanity, violate the innocent, and the consequences will be absolute. The arrogance of the galaxy's most confident species had collided with a force they could not comprehend: intellect perfected through survival, strategy honed in adversity, and moral clarity wielded with lethal precision. The flagship pressed forward, a calm storm moving through shattered enemy formations. Energy pulses radiated outward, drones infiltrated every vessel, and every maneuver demonstrated inevitability. On the bridge, human commanders observed with focus unbroken. Knowing that their presence was more than a strike, it was a lesson, a recalibration of the galaxy's understanding. Humanity did not conquer for glory, nor destroy for vengeance. It enforced consequence, a calculated response to violation and arrogance, as the last alien vessels drifted, powerless and disabled, the Deathworlders' fleet advanced with silent authority. Across the void, every observer knew the same truth: humanity had arrived, and the cost of attacking the innocent would forever be remembered. Every pulse, every disabling strike, every precise maneuver had one message: the galaxy had underestimated Earth's children at its own peril. A single thought resonated across the fleet: justice is inevitable. And it waits for no one. The remnants of the alien fleet drifted silently through the void, powerless husks of what had once been a terrifying armada. Engines were dead, weapons cold, command networks unresponsive. Panic had long since given way to despair as alien commanders struggled to comprehend the scale and precision of the human response. Humanity had not attacked recklessly, nor had it relied on brute force. Every maneuver, every pulse of energy, every drone deployment was deliberate, calculated, and unavoidable. These were the Deathworlders, a species forged in crucibles designed to annihilate life, now perfected into arbiters of inevitability. The flagship led the Armada with a calm authority that radiated through the void. Adaptive hulls shimmered with soft blue energy, bending alien sensors and light itself, creating confusion where none had previously existed. Behind it, human vessels moved in flawless synchronization, each ship anticipating the needs of the other, a living organism of discipline and foresight. Drones detached in silent streams, infiltrating alien vessels to dismantle engines, weapons, and navigation systems with surgical precision. Gravitational traps subtly bent enemy fire, redirecting desperate volleys into empty space and forcing formations into disorder. Every move was a demonstration of patience, intelligence, and inevitability, the very essence of a species forged in death-world conditions. Across planets and orbital stations, survivors witnessed flashes of energy and the vanishing of entire enemy vessels. They did not understand the technology, the precision, or the strategy, but instinct whispered certainty: humanity had arrived. These were not merely saviors, they were arbiters of consequence, executing justice with a calm intelligence that left no margin for error. Every disabled alien ship communicated a single, unmistakable truth: to strike the innocent is to invoke the inexorable will of a species perfected through survival and intellect. The alien commanders, desperate and terrified, attempted one last consolidated attack, concentrating every remaining weapon into a synchronized strike. They sought to disrupt the human flagship, to somehow reclaim control of the battle. Massive energy beams surged forward, kinetic projectiles carved through the void, but every effort failed. Shields absorbed the onslaught, propulsion systems stalled under subtle manipulations, and drones dismantled targeting arrays before a single weapon could fire. Humanity dictated the battlefield itself, controlling not just the fleet but the very flow of space around them. Even amidst total enemy defeat, restraint guided human action. Vessels were disabled rather than destroyed, collateral damage minimized, and life preserved wherever possible. Every vanishing alien ship carried a message: underestimate humanity. Violate the innocent, and the consequences will be absolute. The galaxy's most arrogant and confident species had collided with a force beyond comprehension: intellect perfected by survival, strategy refined in adversity, and moral clarity wielded as a weapon. The flagship moved deeper into the void, a calm storm of authority and inevitability. Energy pulses radiated outward, drones infiltrated every remaining vessel, and each maneuver demonstrated the quiet, unyielding logic of human will. On the bridge, commanders observed with unbroken focus, understanding that their presence was more than a strike. It was a lesson, a recalibration of the galaxy's understanding of consequence. Humanity did not destroy for vengeance, it enforced consequence, precision, and justice, leaving nothing ambiguous. As the last of the alien vessels drifted helplessly in the void, the fleet pressed forward, leaving a clear and undeniable mark on the galaxy. Observers across systems understood the same immutable truth: humanity had arrived, and the cost of attacking the innocent would be etched across the stars for all time. Each pulse of energy, every disabling strike, every precise maneuver carried one message: Earth's children were not to be underestimated. In the endless silence of space, a quiet authority resonated through every human vessel: justice is absolute, and humanity never forgets.